Kuwait, a small but oil-rich country bordered by Iraq and Saudi Arabia. A country that for me always reminds me of the 1990 Gulf War that I grew up seeing on the news. This is the scene of an actual battleground. It's a wealthy country, rich in history and culture, a place where tradition meets modernity. And I'm here to find out more. And what a place to start, the iconic Kuwait Towers. They're actually built back in 1979, so they're quite old. They really look beautiful when you're close up. These amazing patterns on them. But of course, we're going to go up and we're going to see the sunset because my flight's arrived in the afternoon and I've managed to get down here in time. What a great way to start. Everyone's come down to the shady waterfront right now. This is just not a normal sight around here in these parts. Even though on paper it's supposed to be really, really hot right now, it doesn't feel so hot. There's a lovely breeze in the air. Being in the shade here, it's wonderful. And what a great atmosphere. Look at this, look at all these people. Hello. That was pretty cool to see all the people just down on the waterfront there, but the sun is going down fast, so let's see if I can get up this tower. I don't want to miss the sunset. Okay, this looks promising here. Well, I'm in the lift already, I got to admit, with the amount of people outside, I really expected a queue. Thought everyone was going to be going up here for the sunset, but not too bad so far. Well, I come out of the lift there and it actually made my head go a little bit funny. It's a really, really strange feeling. And then you see this incredible view and the sunset here. Of course, there are quite a few people up here, but that's to be expected. It's a special holiday today. It just makes a better atmosphere, right? There's these stairs going up another level. Oh wow, this is the main viewing area. Oh, it's packed full of people up here. And this is the famous revolving cafe. Look at this. We're slowly revolving around this incredible view. That's so cool. That is just an incredible view up here. You see all over the city. And I never realised what a big city this is. But it really does seem like a big sprawling city. I'm not too sure how many people, but it just goes on and on and on. You see that from the plane landing. And it's true what they say as well, it really does show its age, it feels its age, but in a really nice way. It's got some charms, you know, it's not super modern. But actually, this place was closed for a long, long time after the Iraq invasion in 1990. It was only open to tourism again in 2016, not really that long ago. So there's actually 3 towers here. Of course, I'm on the tallest one now, that's the one with the viewing platform. And 2 of them have globes. Of course this one does, but then there's the one down below as well that I'm just kind of looking down on. And then the 3rd one, no globe at all. Now supposedly, I read somewhere that back in the day, originally, they were meant to be water towers, not actually tourist viewing areas. But it's certainly a nice tourist viewing area, that's for sure. And on a day like today, so much life and atmosphere. Isn't that an incredible spot for sunset? And now the sun's really starting to go down, the crowds are starting to thin out, and I think it's time I head that way myself, try and get some food. I have just freshly arrived after all, and there's some more time to explore Kuwait City yet. That was an absolutely great start to Kuwait City. It's packed full of people down here on the ground now. There's so many people out, but I don't think it's packed with available taxis. So I'm just going to walk this way back towards the really, really tall building, which signifies vaguely in the area of home for the night. And, well, let's see what happens. There's a little beach just down here. What a lovely Corniche area. Unfortunately, this seems to be the way of crossing the road here. Not the best. Run, run, run. Okay, at this point I'm just following locals across a vacant lot. It seems to be going exactly in the direction I'm going, so that's a winner, right? You certainly can't miss the buildings that I'm heading towards. See that from the skyline everywhere. Not that I'm staying in one of them, but close enough. So if you had have asked me earlier today, was I going to be in the early evening walking around Kuwait City with a crowd of people this big on the streets, not in cars? I would have told you you're crazy. There you go. Now at this point I'm actually supposed to be turning off to the left, but I'm kind of more tempted just to kind of go along with the crowd, see where they're actually going. For a moment I thought they were all staying in the Ibis like me. Well, goodbye to the crowds. I'm going to cross this pedestrian bridge, and there's the big tall building. Would you look at that though, a pedestrian bridge. I haven't seen one of those for a while. I'm quite liking Kuwait so far. There we go, look at it in all its glory. The only pedestrian bridge. Probably. Don't quote me on that fact. There we go, I made it. Not actually the building I'm looking for, but anyway, very close by. Well, it's a new day. Great first impressions of Kuwait City so far. That was a great evening yesterday. Now, I'm going to head out and see some more of what this country has to offer. Firstly, we're going to head on to the Grand Mosque. Hello. Kuwait's Grand Mosque here is absolutely huge. Supposedly it fits 10,000 worshippers inside and another 7,000 in the courtyard. These tall outside roofs, these beautiful chandeliers, perfectly polished marble that the man is busy with right now. Now at normal times they do actually run visits, but I can't join one at the moment because it's the Eid holidays, so all the staff are off work for that. But it's still an impressive sight from the outside. So that's my rather stunted trip to the Grand Mosque. Unfortunately I couldn't go inside, but the stock footage should help to make up for that. Now I'm going to head on to a restaurant quite far out of the centre to try the Kuwaiti national dish. At least via a bit of shade. It's so hot you can't stay out too long here. So I've come quite a little way out of the city centre here, right around the coast, to this restaurant. And this place is supposed to be a great place to try the national dish, majbos. So I've chosen to have the mutton match bowls. I was going to have the chicken one, but the guy in the taxi was swearing by this one. He says I must have the mutton. It's super tender, super flavourful, much better option to have. So, hey, why not? I'll give that a try. And it's come out here with some salads, some other accompaniments, some pickled vegetables, some chilli, some kind of green hot-looking sauce, and then some red, very hot-looking sauce. I'm not quite sure, but hey, let's try. Oh, would you look at that? That's what it's all about, the meat just falling apart there. Yeah, that is damn good. That is so soft, so succulent. Just falling off the bone there. Oh yes. Oh, I love lamb, mutton done like this. That is fantastic. That is next level biryani right there. Majbos, not biryani. Mmm. Mmm. Now, I thought this would be really interesting to try, but I didn't expect it to be this good. But that is super tasty. If this is what Kuwaiti food can be like, then I'm glad I'm trying some. Wow, blown away. That was absolutely mind-blowing good. I cannot believe it. It's just meat and rice with a few things on the side, but it was so good. The rice was so flavourful, the meat was so soft. What a lovely place. Wow, absolutely fantastic experience. My belly is bursting more than it's been doing in the whole time in the country. Anyway, it's time to head off. I'm going to wait until the sun's gone down, and then I'm going to go to the main city centre park. This is the AlShahid Park, meaning the Martyrs Park in Arabic. And this is the largest city park in Kuwait City, and it's right by the downtown area, but at the same time it's a lovely peaceful place. But the park actually serves a special purpose. It's a tribute to the Kuwaiti soldiers that lost their lives during the Iraq invasion in 1990. But what actually happened in those times? Well, in 1990, Iraq, led by Saddam Hussein, invaded and occupied Kuwait. They claimed historical ties to Kuwait and accused Kuwait of oil price manipulation. The invasion was condemned by the United Nations. and a US-led coalition was formed to liberate Kuwait. In 1991, after a brief war, the Iraqi forces were expelled. Although short, it left a devastating impact on the country, leaving physical, social and economic scars. Lives were lost, infrastructure was destroyed, and Kuwait's economy was extremely damaged. But while it was a dark chapter in Kuwait's history, the country showed remarkable resilience. This morning I'm going to head on, and I'm going to go way out of the city centre to a sombre but powerful memorial. Hello. So this is the Al-Qurain Martyrs Museum. It's not a traditional museum as such. This is the scene of an actual battleground. It's made up of 3 neighbouring villas, and this was the scene of a battle between 19 young Kuwaiti men and the invading Iraqi forces. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Kuwaiti resistance fighters, known as the Masila Group, fought until they were eventually defeated by the Iraqi tanks and soldiers. 12 died, and 7 others were severely wounded. It's unbelievable how the place has been maintained in its original state like this. There's bullet holes, shrapnel damage, and other evidence of the battle here everywhere. It's really bizarre to be able to come here and see this and learn the history of the terrible things that happened here. Displays showcase the weapons used by both sides, maps of the battles, and personal belongings of the martyrs. But for me, the hardest thing to see was the portraits of the martyrs themselves, showing their ages of birth and death, their families. Knowing what happened here, that terrible battle, it's a really powerful reminder of what these men did to defend their country. Seeing their stories here in the museum, seeing the damage on the walls. It's hard hitting, it's hard to see, it sends shivers down my spine, thinking of the events that happened here. But of course it's something that shouldn't be forgotten. It is a dark part of Kuwait's past, but in fairly recent history really. But now let's get in a taxi, head back to the modern Kuwait, the Kuwait City that this has become now. Since those dark days, Kuwait has rebuilt its infrastructure, it's strengthened its security, and is trying to diversify its economy away from oil and gas. And that's the Kuwait you find me in today. And you find me here now at the Liberation Tower. Now, I knew about the Kuwait Towers before I came here, but I'd never heard of this. But this tower stands as a symbol for the liberation of Kuwait after the 7 months of Iraqi occupation. Now, surrounded by all these towers here, it doesn't look that tall, but it's actually taller than the Eiffel Tower. Unbelievable. Now, sadly, it's not open to the public, so I can't actually go up it, but it is an awesome sight on the skyline of modern Kuwait. Now, I'm going to jump in a taxi, I'm going to head to somewhere that really showcases the modern Kuwait city. So, welcome to the Avenues Mall. And this place is absolutely huge. 1.2 million square meters, 1,400 stores. I barely even know where to start. People love malls in this part of the world, and it makes perfect sense. You're undercover, shaded, with lovely air conditioning, and you've got everything under one roof. You've got shops, you've got entertainment, you've got restaurants. It really adds up. I totally get it, particularly when it's 45 degrees outside. But this seems a great place to try and start, the main avenue. It's built to make it look like you're outside with this glass roof, so the sun kind of comes in, but still lovely with air conditioning, a nice temperature here. And the way it's built as well, it's built like an outside European street. You've got the paved road, you've got shop fronts, which are like buildings. It's really quite incredible. And it stretches as far as the eye can see. There's so much here. So I've just walked through this grand entranceway behind me into an area they're calling the Souk. So this is the modern avenue's take on a traditional souk. I'm wondering how it compares to the real thing. This is really quite impressive so far. in this Souk area, it still feels like being outside. There's still this wonderful open glass top to it. It still feels nice and cool, but all the kind of artificial buildings are way smaller here. A very, very different vibe, but still definitely inside the mall. It's incredible. Never really seen anything like it. It puts malls back where I'm from to shame. Oh wow, this is grand. At this stage, I've obviously gone out of the Souk area into this grand kind of Italian themed area. Look at these buildings, or fake buildings. This incredible roof. And look at the lift. It just raises out of the ground like that to this level. And it seems to play music as well. This is what's so bizarre. The way they really make it feel like you're outside. It's incredible. There's so much light coming through, so much sun coming through, but the temperature's just perfect. And the way the buildings look, it really feels like you are actually outside. It doesn't even feel that fake. It's incredible. Really never seen anything like it. I love the idea of setting up these streets and restaurants and cafes with terraces. Terraces like this is just something you can't do here because of the heat. But here, within this place, they've made it possible. And it's wonderful. Oh, look at this. This is the fancy part of the mall ahead. I see a Gucci sign. Let's go check this out. This is always really interesting to see. Wow, look at this. It is just beautiful. The floor is so shiny, the ceilings are so high, everything's golden. And then look at this roof. It looks like the feathers of a peacock. That is absolutely incredible. Kind of marble-like walls. Look at this. That's a first for me as well. A golden escalator that goes round in a semicircle. Incredible. Look how long it goes on as well. Just stretching all the way down like the main avenue, but just with all the fancy stuff and all the gold and marble-like stuff. What a place. Then after going up the golden escalator, you come through a door to another area called the Gardens. Out of the posh stuff into an area that feels even more outdoors, even more light, with terraces and restaurants. And again, it feels like you are outdoors, but the temperature is just too cool. There's greenery everywhere. Real plants as well from the looks of things. So the garden seems to be really a food court area. Let's go back into the fancy part, the expensive part, just to check this out properly. Barely even scratched the surface of this yet. Right, back down the golden escalator. Wow, it's really bright right here. The sun is really coming in. But you know what? That escalator, there is something so deeply satisfying about going round an escalator that goes round a curve. Giorgio Armani. Versace there. I don't recognise a lot of these brands, to be honest. I'm not fancy enough for this kind of thing. But wow, it certainly looks elegant here. I'm really not one for malls and shopping, never have been, but this really is a sight in itself. I've seen some incredible malls here, but this just takes it to a whole nother level. And I just have this feeling, I've still barely even scratched the surface. Wow, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Prada, Chanel. Another grand peacock-style dome in the middle. What is this? I can hardly believe it. I've actually reached an endpoint of this section. Wow. Well, I seem to have come out to the main High Street Avenue area again. I guess this is what kind of links it all together. The buildings are incredible. I have to call them buildings. They are buildings. They're just buildings within this enclosed, incredible space. Got a grand entranceway back to the more Italian-style section. Just here, it just feels like a terrace cafe. It really does not feel like being indoors. Would you look at this down here? It goes on for so long, the Grand Avenue as they call it. It's crazy. But I think I've just found a whole new zone, Electra, the electronics part. Okay, I'm not going to let the body shop fool me. I see a lot of signs and lights here. It's changed a lot. Hello. Wow, it looks like a road here as well, with a little crossing here and lights at the side. Oh, here's the interactive floor. I heard about this. Wow, would you look at this? This huge globe with an escalator going up the middle of it. And these strange golden shapes on the ceiling. That's going all the way down.
Hello, America.
Hello.
Hello.
Wow. Well, obviously after my last escalator experience here in this mall, I've got to go up these escalators. It's this strange TV globe thing. Let's see where this leads. Oh, I see, straight to the cinema. Okay. So of course that reminds me, this mall doesn't just have a ton of shops, cafes, restaurants, whatever. It's also got entertainment. So of course there's a cinema here. And there's supposed to be a theme park or two here as well. I've not seen those yet. But yeah, finding your way around here can be quite an adventure. It's like a little city in itself. Well, we've got a Mercedes-Benz showroom ahead. Big enough for anything around here. This is actually it. This is actually the end point of the Grand Avenue. I'm not sure how long exactly this goes on. It's certainly a kilometre at the very least, probably more. Oh, wow. Yet another Starbucks by me. I think that's at least 5 so far. There's probably a lot more. Haven't even seen the theme park areas that's supposed to be here. They're kind of hidden away. But what an incredible place. I've never seen a mall like this. Just going round here was an amazing experience. It's brilliant seeing what they've done with the place, seeing all the life here, getting out of the heat. It's just all so grand. I got to admit, I did actually buy just one thing. I got some toothpaste, kind of needed that. Wow, what a place. Now the Avenues Mall is a perfect example of how people can choose to shop today in Kuwait. But I got one more place to show you, and I couldn't possibly leave this aside. This is a very different place. The historic Souk. This was a centre of trade in Kuwait before oil was discovered. And this is the historic Souk of the city, really the old city centre of Kuwait City. This dates back probably more than 200 years. It was actually heavily damaged when Iraq invaded in 1990, but since then it's been rebuilt in the traditional style. I think it's still really too hot outside for the souk to be going properly yet, but I found an indoor undercover section, and it's actually a lot cooler in here. Shaded, and there seems to be some kind of cooling. Still not that many people out yet. I guess it's going to get busier when the sun goes down. Always the same with these things, and it is so hot here. Just absolutely full here of fresh fruits and veg on one side, and then kind of dried stuff on the other side. Dates, nuts, spices. Looks like a whole shop in its own right. There's all these kind of food court areas getting set up for later on as well, with these industrial strength fans to cool things down. I bet this place is going to be absolutely pumping later. I've been looking around here just for somewhere to sit down and have a nice local cup of tea. I think I've found now where people come for tea. Full of locals, comfy seats, and those little tiny cups of tea. Alright, I think I found a winner. Oh, that's good too.
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 1
That's definitely a local tea corner of the Souk right there, and that was a well needed break. It's been very hot, but the tea is strong and delicious, and it's going to have me buzzing for quite some time, I think. It may be little cups, but it's strong. This part seems to look less souk and more covered shopping area. There's only a few more people around this little square in the middle here. This seems to be where everyone just gets on their phones and has a conversation. But I think this is really the end of the old souk here, coming out to roads again, roads with cars. Kind of interesting to see, like Iraqi style. Maskoof. Well, I got to admit, I thought after the sun long since went down and it got dark here, it would have got a lot busier. There is quite some life here, and there's certainly a lot of colour. I love it all lit up like this. But still, it is still very hot. My eyes don't feel like they're burning now, but kind of close. So I get why people aren't out, but still, there's a nice bit of life on the street. And that's it for my time in Kuwait. I've had a really good time here exploring, and it's definitely not been what I expected at all. But it's been absolutely fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed it too, and I hope you come join me next time.